that I was back in Nigeria exactly the same time as I was in 2024.
Wow.
You know, because I decided that I want to.
That played before and see what in Nigeria.
No, I haven't been back. I haven't been back since.
Wow.
And it's only because I took the decision that I want to play it differently this time. I want to come over with my passports, and then I can move about freely. You know, when you have the thing about in the passports, you only have book and Niger. You understand?
Yes.
You know, because it might because like it will like with the positions that one is with the positions that one is holding now. Do you understand? You know, I have to hold that position and hold a Niger passport with it. I'm no longer British. You know, I'm now a bona fide Nigerian. I'm a chief now, so I can't be calling myself British. You know, I'm a chief, and the chieftaincy title that I hold is a very high one. So, you know, it's different levels now.
Balogun is not a small chief.
It's not a small chief at all. You know, so
they will defend minister.
You know, so you know, I'm the 001 global security cluster. Now, when you know, I said to somebody the other day, I said, you know, God has been good to me. When Dr. Badmus started, Dr. Badmus started this whole thing off, right? He gave me, he called his organization the global clusters, right? Now, as the global clusters, I now come in as the 001 global security clusters of the global cluster. Now, when anything that's global, right, that is equivalent to or just as big as saying is the world. You understand? So, you know, it's no longer national. It's not even international. It's not even just international. It is world. That's world status. So, you know, and then on top of that, now they can't give me Balogun. You understand? Which is top of the tree where chiefs are concerned. So, you know, one has to embrace that. You know, one has to embrace that. And you know, before we get started, I'd also like to, you know, thank everybody who has pushed me to this level, to this junction. Especially Dr. Badmus, you know, because I think Dr. Badmus's master stroke was getting me involved with the global clusters in the first place. You know, even though I've always done my security thing and, you know, gotten involved and taken contracts and everything, but you know, I turned to acting, you know, because I have this love and passion for the arts. But Dr. Badmus now drags me back into my main passion, which is security and law enforcement. And you know, we were talking about the young man before you came in, Dr. Badmus. We were talking about the young man who was shot by the police ceremoniously in Nigeria. And I was saying, when I come back to Nigeria, I'm hoping and praying that you get back before I return to the UK, because I really would like to have meetings with IGs and ACPs and the like, you know, to address this issue of men and women walking around all the states in Nigeria in ordinary jeans and t-shirt, carrying AK-47s and stopping traffic. Right now, you can't, you know, from a legal standpoint. Now, I said to one of my guys here the other day in our Army of Salvation at church, he promoted a young lady who is quite new to us. She, as far as I was concerned, she hadn't been given a rank yet. She was still the equivalent of a private, what we call comrade. Now, you elevated her to the position of deputy provost. And I said to him, if you are happy to promote her to the position of deputy provost, you now have to put the rank on her shoulders of a sergeant. And he said, why? I said, because you cannot be a provost in an organization where you wear uniform, you have a cap badge on your uniform, and the organization has military ranks, right? She has a position of authority. In order for you to have authority, you have to have a rank. I said that is the reason why you'll find in the military police all over the world, a lance corporal is a private in the military police is the equivalent of a lance corporal in every other division. And the reason for that is that stripe means Molenu. Are you guys listening? Right? The stripe, that one stripe, that lance corporal stripe, right, is the equivalent to team leader. Right? It's the equivalent in some cases to supervisor. Right? If you are an ordinary bot, that means you are the same as everybody else. You can talk to me. I don't have to listen to you because we're on the same, all on the same rung of the ladder. But from the moment you get one stripe up, that means you now have authority to correct and to assign. So, you know, in Nigeria today, we need to speak to certain people to right that wrong. Why would you want to stop my car and when you only have t-shirt and jeans on and you're carrying a gun and you expect me to stop? I will run you over. Right? And in court, I can back that up in court and say, well, I ran that person over and I feel justified because how am I supposed to know that you're a police officer? So anyway, that's my little rant for the morning. Master Genie, roll the tape. Let's get going. You're welcome. Yeah, good morning, everybody. It's good to be here again on another Saturday morning. My name is Michael Bunga. I am the 001 Global Security Clusters of the Global Clusters. My remit is to talk about security and security matters, how we can learn from each other, teach each other, listen to each other, and hopefully improve one another on security matters in this new normal. Today, I have the pleasure of His Excellency Dr. Adekunle Badmus, who is the global president of the global clusters worldwide and the man who has brought us all together on different levels and in different fields, different areas, different spheres, and helping us to develop our minds and our mindsets. We also have Mr. Kaudi Oyedoto, who is the 002 significant revelation.
Yes, excellent morning to you. Thank you.
And I have a few people on TikTok who are still coming through. For those of you who are in but don't want to jump on board, I say a very good morning to you, a very happy Saturday, and I hope that your week has been fantastically fruitful. Today, I'm glad that His Excellency has already joined us, because what I want to talk about today is quite important. It has to do with the fact that in Nigeria, especially, I don't know about most of the other West African countries, we have an election looming very, very soon. I think after the Christmas festivities, I think everybody will start gearing themselves up for elections in Nigeria. And so today, instead of our usual word of the day, I actually would like to talk about the looming elections in Nigeria from a security perspective. I'm not here to canvass for any party. I'm just basically here to talk about elections and election security. Now, I'm going to start this off today by telling everyone, and if you could, Master Genie, once in a while, just take a couple of notes from some of the nuggets I'm going to be dropping in this session, because I think on the group chat, some of these nuggets need to be shared with all and sundry. Today, I would like us to bear in mind this saying, and that saying is, election security begins in the mind. That is the title of today's talk. Election security begins in the mind. Dr. Badmus, I'm pretty sure you will be very, very conversant with that one line, because I'm sure you've been around a lot of candidates and a lot of secure election procedures over the years, especially in Nigeria, and you know that there's a lot that goes into these things. Sorry, excuse me for a second. Sorry, sir. I'm live. Can I give you a call when I finish? Yeah, thank you, sir. So one of the things, one of the important factors that we need to take into consideration in today's money is that defeating fear, manipulation, and violence is something that needs to be done before the ballot. Right? That is the subtitle. Defeating fear, manipulation of violence before the ballot. Now, in Nigeria especially, and I'm sure Dr. Badmus is listening. He's like myself today. He's not 100%, but you know, I'm pretty sure that the battle-hardened man that I know he is, he's gonna jump in soon and give his very, very strong and emotional take on a lot of these things as he does. But let me start by saying today's conversation is one every Nigerian should pay close attention to. Because as we move closer to another election season, we must understand something very important. The greatest threat to democracy is not always the gun. Sometimes it is the manipulated mind. When people hear security, they think, you know what, Master Genie. Hello, Master Genie, you there?
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Excellent. Now, here's a question. During election time, when people hear security, what do they think?
During election time, when people hear security, what do they think?
Yeah. What do they think?
Genuinely, they should think of being safe to cast their vote for who of their choice without, any other person coercing them or making them do what they don't want,
Mhm.
and also to protect life in case of any mishappens.
Okay. All right then. Now, if I said to you that some people would think police, military, weapons, checkpoints, intelligence operations, you know, that's what, especially in places like Africa, that is the first thing that goes to a lot of people's minds. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right? But modern security goes beyond physical protection, right? In today's money, security involves information, it involves emotions, public behavior, social media, civic discipline, and national consciousnesses. Right now, um, I'm very, very sure that a lot of people from that last list that I mentioned would realize that yes, if we're talking the 1980s, 1990s, you would have thugs running around in places like Lagos and Enugu and all these other cities in Nigeria with people intimidating others into doing what they don't really want to do, but they have to do it because they're doing it under duress, right? And there's no one to show it. There's, you know, if people get caught taking photographs or whatever, you know, these people go after them. You know, there's a lot of noise, etc., and so forth. But in today's money, right, information is quickly decimated, right? You know, people get information pretty quickly, not just in Nigeria, but all over the world. You know, if something has gone wrong, you know, that shouldn't have gone wrong, right? Before you know it, the whole world knows about it, you know, and emotions get high, right? People protest. You know, like we were talking about one this morning about a young man who was a courier, right? He was just doing a job, right? He gets stopped by the police, right? Because he spoke up for himself, they decided to unalive him, right? Now, public behavior, right, plays a big part in this, right? Social media picked it up and sent it all over the world, right? Now, when it comes to elections, right, as I said, election security begins in the mind, right? It begins in the mind. And how does it begin in the mind? It begins in the mind because you've got to ask yourself a lot of questions, right? You've got to ask yourself a lot of questions, right? And the first question is, what really is election security? Right? What is election security? Right? Now, when we talk about, you know, we're trying to break down what election security is, right? It means protecting democracy. It means gaining public trust. It means national unity. It means peace and emotional stability of the citizens. That is election security, right? That is the fact that we're going to have an election, right? And we're trusting the process, INEC, and all these people to do it properly, right? Allow people to leave their homes and walk to a polling station and cast their votes, right? Without intimidation, without people coming after you, right? You want the assurance that all the security agencies that are around are actually honest and they have integrity, right? And they are protecting the people, right? Because no doubt, the global security clusters is coming back to Nigeria, you know, and we will in the future, in the nearest future, have big parts to play in things like this. Because the gospel that we're preaching in the security clusters is, listen, we're coming home.
Sorry, sir. We are in Nigeria. We are in Africa already.
Oh, you know what I mean?
People are yet to spot us.
Oh,
We
yes.
are there. You know, we are not coming. We are there.
Yes.
We are everywhere.
Master
But
G,
they are not noticing us yet.
not yet.
You know, they've not seen they didn't even see us coming.
I agree
Yeah,
with
so
I agree with you, sir. They are there already.
Master
they
G,
are there. We have kickstarted everything. You know,
Master G,
you did a great job. Let them Google the global security clusters and see. of the global clusters
Master
and
G,
see what comes up for them.
did you see what I said earlier on? I said he's not 100%, but the moment I say something that's going to trigger him, all
Yes.
that
Baba, Baba,
You
Baba,
did.
Baba. Just like you used to tell me, sir.
yeah.
Even you don't know what you're hope for. You are hope to uphold the over 1.5 billion African people.
Dr.
You
Badman,
are
you know,
a great posterior.
we
You are a savior. You are sent. No. I know we, but sir, I'm telling you your mandate as the global security clusters of the global clusters. Your mandate is to ensure that when it comes to security, the all of the African nations gain its own dignity back.
Amen. We could do this. In fact, we're already doing it. Like you said, we're already doing it.
You understand? A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step.
With a step. And you know what?
You started awareness every Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's waxing very strong.
It is.
There's no Saturday we don't discuss this.
And
it starts from discussion. And we're taking some level of actions. You're currently writing your book right now, right?
Yes.
You are writing about the global security cluster, right?
That's correct.
And that's it. And when you come to Nigeria, we're going to register the security company, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to start something.
So
we are here.
I'm so excited. You know, I keep saying it every week. I'm so excited because Dr. Badmus has stirred up the hornet's nest and he's kicked the sleeping lion. You know, and you know, we've started this. You know, the journey of 1,000 years started with a step 2 years ago. You know, and now, you know, it's gathering so much momentum. Obviously, when I watch a lot of these things back, you know, and I try to encourage all my people to come on TikTok and Spark Hubs to come and add their voice to a lot of the things that we're doing here. You know, I believe, you know, and I'm one of these people. I'm a very, very optimistic person. I believe that there's nothing impossible in Nigeria that cannot be made possible. You know, the global security clusters is in Nigeria. We're coming home, right? People like myself are coming home. We're coming home not just to show people that I can buy a ticket and come to Nigeria whenever I feel like it. I'm coming home to show the Nigerians that, listen, this is a whole new security company that's coming to Nigeria.
Yeah.
You know, people keep saying, oh, yes, well, you know, you'll soon join them when they start to throw money at you. No, when you start throwing money at me, I will say thank you. We will take your money. We will buy equipment. We will buy uniforms. As I said, all of my officers will have badges, right? They will have badges. They will have badges like police.
Sorry to cut you off, sir. At least Halogen has been there for many years. All the malpractices that we've been seeing, we've never seen Halogen personnel, you know, misbehaving. So we are going to do better than, you know, than that.
Well, Halogen at the moment, as Dr. Badmus knows, and myself have been in talks. You know, they desperately want me to join their board. You know, to come and. But the thing is, what I want to do is before I make any decision, obviously myself and Dr. Badmus will sit down and have a chat, you know, and we will see how they fit into our dream. Do you understand? Because at the end of the day, they've been around for a long time, but they don't address certain issues
100%.
Within security. And if we're going to join forces, they have to understand that there are certain areas where they have to leave the global clusters, especially the global security clusters, to take the lead. You know, we are going to champion so many different fronts in Nigeria, right? That will not only shed light on Clear Cross, not only shed light on Halogen, but it will shed serious light on the global clusters. You understand?
I believe the global security clusters of the global cluster is here to really audit the existing ones and also educate and shape the security system. And
by the time we're done, most security companies in Nigeria must have a certificate that is federal government recognized, right? It will have the logo of the global clusters on it, right? To say yes, they've done the equivalent to a course of training that is recognized by the country, right, and internationally, that you are an accomplished security officer, right? You can be asked any question and you should be able to answer it on a security front. At the moment, as good as a lot of these security companies are in Nigeria, a lot of them can't answer basic security questions. Why? Because they don't work like that. And we have to change that narrative. That narrative has to be changed, because a security officer is actually a one-stop shop to many things in the security industry. As a security officer, if all you know how to do is walk around in the uniform, then you're actually not a security officer, you're just a gateman. You know nothing. So these are things that we need to change in Nigeria. A lot of them, if you ask them to write a report, the question is, can they write a report? If they do a patrol, do they know what they're doing? If there's an emergency situation, do they know what to do with it? At the moment,
with incident reports.
This is what I'm saying. So all of these things will be taught under the banner of the global clusters and the global security clusters. You understand? So, and this is why I'm going home to go and register.
In a way, to enter the halogen system, yes, they'll be existing, but the global security cluster, for us to be able to do anything, you will have to audit their system and their personnel.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going there. The global clusters is coming to take charge. It's coming to take charge. And the good thing is they're the head of their security area, and I have had many a conversation. And he's very happy with me, and he's very interested in what we're doing. And I'm excited to be position that I'm in, and I'm looking forward to taking it to that next level. So, Auntie Olayinka, good morning. How are you?
You're welcome back in.
Auntie Olayinka doesn't want to talk to us today.
Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Good. How was your week?
It's good. It's good.
Excellent. So, Auntie Olayinka, today we're talking about security, especially during elections. And I know that in Nigeria, at the moment, everybody is gearing up this up-and-coming general election, where you're either going to vote in a new president or keep the old one for at least another 4 years, and meet him or stomach him, until he's done his time and he moves on, and Nigeria is ready for new blood. But I asked a question. I said, many people think election security simply means protecting ballot boxes, which is really funny, because Master Genie, based on what we were just saying, that is the level at which a lot of security happens in Nigeria. You say you say you're having an election and you put security there, and the only thing they're there for actually is to watch the ballot box, right? But you forget that an election means protecting democracy. It means protecting public trust. It means protecting national unity. It means protecting the peace and the emotional stability of citizens, right? Now, all of that rolled into one basically means, yes, looking after the ballot box, but then at the same time, you're also looking out for all these people who walk out of their houses or walk out of their offices or walk off the streets to go and vote for the person that they think or believe is the right person to lead the country, right? They are people who vote in people who are going to look after the constituencies. You know, because everybody wants to feel safe. Everybody wants to trust the persons that they've put in place to govern the country. Now, because elections are emotional periods, people then become angry, right? And Master Genie, you'll agree with me on this one. They become tribal.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? They become angry. They become tribal.
Sides, yeah. Then they start using,
you know, and a lot of people even become very defensive. You know, they see wrong things. They call it right. You know, and if you ask them why they think that, they have no proper answer for you. They just become very, very defensive. You know, oh yes, I did this because last time he did this and she did that, so yes, I'm going to do this one. You know, not a proper answer.
The greatest threat to a peaceful election is not physical violence or ballot manipulation.
No,
it's fear. You know,
it's actually fear. Exactly.
The hate speech, the tribal division.
Yeah.
You know, undisciplined reactions.
That's correct.
Emotional manipulations and all those hate speech are the main, threat to a peaceful election, and that happens a lot in Nigeria.
You know, you've hit the nail on the head. You know, especially in places like Nigeria. You know, elections become emotional periods. People become angry, tribal, defensive, fearful, aggressive, and possibly even irrational. You know, they don't think straight. You know, all of a sudden, you know, the Yorubas get up and say, Awaluko. You know,
false information.
Yeah, vote for the man because he's from our tribe. The man don't even like you, right? But you want to vote him in anyway because he's from your tribe, right? The man doesn't have a proper mandate for you, but you want to vote him in because he's from your tribe. You know, so you're being tribal, right? And you've also allowed yourself to be manipulated into voting the wrong person for all the wrong reasons, right? Now, in today's money, unfortunately, politicians understand this, and that's why elections often become seasons of propaganda.
Exactly.
Right? Politicians are fantastic guys and women. You know, they will look for your weakest link and they will work on it. Right? They will look for your weakest link and work on it. Because remember, when we say we're talking about security every Saturday, remember I said a few weeks ago that one of the most important aspects of security is the security of your mind. Right? Now, if you have not secured your mind, right, your mind then becomes something that people can play with. Right? They will play with it, they will manipulate it, and they will make you do things you actually didn't want to do. Right? But then you'll end up doing it and then regretting it. You know? So, you know, you then succumb to fake news. You know, you become very, very vulnerable to fake news. Oh yeah, you know, let's vote for this guy because you can see that he's not feeling very well, or he can't stand up straight, or he can't do this, or he's incompetent, or he's incontinent. You know, they manipulate your mind. You know, they give you fake news, and if that doesn't work, what do? They come around to your house and they threaten you. If you don't vote for this person, this is what's going to happen to you and your family. You don't vote for that person, we're going to do this. Right? It then becomes intimidation. Right? Or they use emotional exploitation. Oh, come on now, guys. Come on. Look at for how many years we haven't had one of these people in the seat of power. Don't you think it's about time we let somebody else do it? Right? Now, the question is it about somebody else doing it, or is it about the right person doing it? Good morning, Ambassador Abosede. Good morning, Ma. It's good to have you on the platform this morning.
You're welcome in, Ambassador Evangelist Abosede. You're welcome in, Ma. Happy weekend, Ma.
So I've been away for a while. Some things. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much. I've been trying to connect my network, my phone, everything fast.
I understand.
Well done.
I understand. Yeah. So so you know, after all that fake news and intimidation, but you know what? Let's just say this clearly to one another, right? A peaceful election is not created by security agencies alone, right? It's not, right? Just because you've got 10,000 police officers there and soldiers carrying AK-47, wearing bulletproof vests, etc. and so forth, that does not create a peaceful election. It doesn't. What creates peaceful election, right, is stability, right? What creates a peaceful election is stability, right? It's created by disciplined citizens, right? That's another point there, Master Genie, right? Put that on the group. A peaceful election is created by disciplined citizens, right? If the citizens are disciplined, right, that election process will go ever so fantastically, right? These are amongst the things that we need to teach ourselves and develop ourselves on.
A peaceful election is handled by
a peaceful election is dictated by the discipline of the citizens. Right. Now, here's a question. Right, here's a question. Can a nation truly be secure if its citizens are emotionally uncontrollable?
No.
Master Genie?
No.
That's a question for you. Right? Can a nation truly be secure if its citizens are emotionally uncontrollable?
No.
Right? Now, these are the things that are never really, in my eye and in my view, they're never really brought up by people or spoken about.
Because if the, like you first said earlier on, in the like I put in the group chat there, the election security begins in the mind.
That's
you know,
correct.
like I also said, 10 million security does not create peace during election either.
No.
Even the ballot box cannot create peace, because if the minds are already programmed for conflict, that we are not accepting this party or this election, if all the citizens' minds have been programmed for conflict, then there will definitely be no peaceful election.
That's correct.
Because if somebody has attacked them emotionally, because people can be manipulated emotionally during elections, and get panic, rumors, and anger spread faster than fact. So if their mind has already been programmed that okay, we are causing trouble in this election, there's no other way you can make them do a peaceful election.
Well, like I said, you could have 10 million soldiers there with AK-47s and another 10 million police officers. What that creates is tension.
It's tension, because if people mind have already been programmed for conflict and they are ready to just die for anything, then look
at it like this. Look at it like this, right? And this is just another way for you to look at it. Now, you've got 10 million police officers and 10 million soldiers, all of them carrying AK-47s, right? And then you've got another 500,000 non-uniform personnel who are carrying Glocks and pistols and everything, walking around with bulletproof vests and everything, not smiling, just looking very, very intimidating, right? Now, you and I know that nobody standing there is going to be feeling relaxed, right? In some cases, they'll be feeling like they have to vote for somebody just in case it all goes tits up and someone wants to start shooting, right? But if there is emotional stability, right, and there is disciplined citizenship, right, going on around there, right, whoever is walking around in uniform is just there to blend in with the crowd.
Exactly.
Right? Now, these are the things that we need to start promoting. Right? Now, because insecurity does not always begin with criminals, sometimes it begins with ordinary citizens who refuse discipline. Right? You get people who turn up, and say, "Oh yeah, well, I'm a supporter of so and so," you know. So therefore, I've got to walk in before everybody else. Oh yeah, and I need to see what everyone else is doing. And you're saying to them, look, sir, just behave yourself. She says, oh, what do you mean by behave myself? Yeah, you can't tell me that, you know, because I belong to so and so and so and so and so. You understand? You know, and when you tell them how things are supposed to work, they tell you, listen, you don't know what you're talking about, right? They reject
impulsive reactions.
yeah, you know, they reject the truth. They don't want to hear the truth.
No,
you know, or when the results come out, they don't want to hear the results because it didn't go their way, it didn't fall in their favor. You know, or you got people who spread hatred and they say, oh, you know what? Oh, if you vote for that person, man, heaven help you. You know, you know that this person has spent the whole of their campaign
political provocations.
Yes, exactly. You know, and then when they start fighting or when they start throwing things around or they start violence, then, you know, in the eyes of the world, like in Nigeria now, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are expecting the violence to erupt. They're expecting kidnaps to happen. They're expecting all sorts of that because, as far as they're concerned, that is how it works in Nigeria.
Yeah, that's the system we need to change because it's like that's how it's meant to happen.
Right. They basically normalize chaos, right? Which is wrong. Good morning, Dominic.
I don't know if you've seen a Nigerian lady that was covering the election going on in Japan, and he showed was it a governor or someone, a man that was just campaigning with just his bike, and he attached a banner to it. And recently, I've seen again that she posted that the man actually win without, you know, no big cars, no branded cars, just a bicycle and a banner.
That's it. You know, which just goes to show that it can work if you do it properly.
Exactly.
You know, you don't need. I mean, like it's like, you know, people say, oh yeah, you know what? I want to run for a senatorial position in Nigeria, and the first question that people ask is, have you got money?
The Home Minister of Defense, he resigned because he wants to go and become a governor in Oyo State.
Yeah,
with the level of insecurity that we are facing.
Exactly. You know, I don't get it. Now, this is why during election seasons you hear statements like, if this person wins, the country is finished. Remember, I just said that.
They really need to hear us because definitely discipline is one of the invisible security force every citizen must carry. Discipline.
Yes. Discipline. You know, in places like Nigeria, you hear your tribe is under attack. Why? Because somebody from another tribe is trying to become president.
Imagine.
You know? And that person is gaining ground. You know, people are actually listening to what that person is saying. And because your person isn't saying the right things, or your person is known to have no integrity, right? Then the next course of action is to go out and say, oh, your tribe is under attack because this person is now canvassing to become a governor, or this person is canvassing to become a president. And because of the fact that person is not from your tribe, so therefore you don't think that person gets in. A lot of people believed in the last election that when the gentleman wins, they will get contracts and everything will come their way because at the end of the day, he's one of them. You know, they're all from the same tribe, you know, but that's not how it works. You know, that's not how it works. And our people still have a lot to learn. You know, now think carefully, right? Think carefully, Master Genie. Think carefully, Ambassador Cool. Think carefully, Dominic. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry for coming late and to interrupt.
I'm glad.
This is exactly what is happening in Syria. As well, the Northerners are in power. Only the Northerners will gain favor. So you have to change your name to a Northerner. Well, this is exactly what is happening in Syria. Exactly. If you are not, if the Northerner in power, you are not, you are in trouble.
Yeah.
You are in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is exactly what's happening in Syria. Tribalism.
These narratives have to change.
It definitely has to change. You know, the tribal division is too much.
It is.
And we are respecting the Westerners that because they have the same color of skin that we do in Africa too. It's not all white people that are from the same background. You know.
Well, like I say to a lot of people. Right.
We are not going forward. It has always kept us backward. We are not going forward at all. We're not going forward.
You know what, Dominic?
Real mess.
You know what, Dominic? It's like this, right? We're not, nothing's moving forward in a lot of places in Africa simply because of the fact that it is the older generation, right, who are still controlling things, right?
Yes. Could you imagine what we have been facing with South Africa recently?
Yeah, right. It is the older generation with their old views, right, and they're inflicting their old views on a lot of these children today, and that is the reason why a lot of things aren't working in Africa as much as we want it to, but it can change. We can change that, but we just have to want to, you just have to want to.
We have to want to,
Now here's a question. Now think carefully, right? Who benefits, right? Who benefits when citizens become afraid? Right? Who benefits when citizens of a nation become afraid? Who benefits? Right? Look at a country like Nigeria where you don't have constant electricity, right? But one of your people, who was probably your vice president once upon a time, has the monopoly on generators, right? So who is the person benefiting, right, from the fact that you have no power?
I don't want to use the name government, but definitely it's the leaders, the wrong leaders.
Of course, right?
Yes, the politicians.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, guys, right? Fear creates psychological instability, right? You will constantly wake up in the morning, and somebody will mention something, and you will repeat the same narrative that you've been repeating over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, until the point where it actually becomes a song, right, that you sing to yourself every day. Oh, we have no light, NEPA. Oh, we have no light, NEPA. Oh, we have no light, NEPA. Oh, someone comes to visit you. Oh, can you put on the fan? Oh, we can't put on the fan. Why? Because we have no light. You understand, right? It is not a thing of pride
at all,
right? To live in the 21st century in a country, like I said last week, and I'm sure Master Genie, you heard me last week when I said it, that I don't understand how countries like Britain and America, and France call Africa third world country, right? Whereby the sources or the resources that these use to make themselves great comes from Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you did say that.
Right? How can you call us a third world country?
Yes.
And we have what you don't have.
Yes.
We have what you don't have. You come to our country to take it. It's not that we give it to you. You come and take it, right? You take it back to your country. You enrich your country with it, right? You develop with it, and then you call us third world. Right? Now, the mind, this is why, I go back to what I said earlier on, securing your mind, right? Securing your mind is a very, very important thing.
100%.
That needs to be done, especially amongst we Africans, right? For how many years or for how long do you want to be depending on the fact that if a white person hasn't done it, therefore it can't be done?
Yes.
Right? The white people are dependent on you Africans to give them ideas, right? You are then giving them ideas, and they're taking your idea to make their country better, whilst you're still living in a 6x4 wood hut, right? They're building skyscrapers, and they're building massive buildings made of glass and aluminium, and you're still building with bitumen and mud, and you're taking palm fronds from the trees, and you're putting that as your roof, putting a coat hanger in the ceiling to make your aerial, right? Whereas in these countries, they're using fiber and broadband, and all this fiber and broadband, the materials have actually come from Africa. What are we doing? What are we doing? We need to secure our mind, right? Get our mind to that place of serious security, right? Whereby we can think. Remember I said last week, Master Genie, remember when I said about the industry, right? Where you have one friend and your one friend has 10 friends, and those 10 friends have 10 friends each, and those 10 friends have 10 friends each, until you've got 1,000 friends, and every 1,000 friends brings 1,000 naira, right? 1,000 naira in 1,000 places is 1,000,000 naira, right? You buy land, you build, and then you create industry, and then when that industry is full and you've got all your products and you're selling it, you go out, you franchise, you build another one and another one and another one and another one, until everybody's working, everybody's making good money, right? That's how you build a nation. That is how, as I like to call it, you sow a seed, right? The one seed that you planted has grown into big industry, right? You got to learn to secure your mind. Any questions from anybody? Dominic, any questions?
You have said it all. You have said it all.
Master Genie, any questions? Master Genie, you there?
Yes, I'm here, sir. You have said it all. And my question will be, how do we get these minds to be disciplined? But I believe it's what we are doing right now, which is awareness.
Honestly speaking, right? Honestly speaking, you see, there are two things that human beings do, right? One of them is to talk, and the other one is to do, right? Now, we covered something just now in this little segment that we've just done now, and that is fear, right? In Africa, if fear, right, if fear was an Olympic sport, I think Africans would get gold medal every time, right? Because a lot of Africans they talk a lot, right? But they talk in their houses, they talk in their little friend groups, but they don't talk where it's necessary. Why? Because of the fear of reprisal, fear that somebody will come to your house and abduct you because of the fact that you said something which is absolutely 100% honest, right? But when say again?
That's very true, because we have a case of Justice Crack right now, who was speaking out for the soldiers in Nigeria because of their food that they were eating in the front line of war. Well, the guy is still he was kidnapped by Nigerian army until people started protesting before they knew his whereabouts. So you have to even be careful right now speaking out.
Yeah, well, you see, this is it. Like, as you know, there's a very famous saying that says, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
For anything, yes.
Right? Now, in order for messages to come across, right? In order for messages to come across, you've got to be prepared to take that risk. You understand? You don't, but there are ways and manners to which you do certain things, right? No matter what you do in this life, people are going to take offense anyway, right? People are going to take offense. Dr. Basiki, I see you. Come on board, please. Your voice has been missing for months, so we would like to hear from you, Dr. Basiki. Good morning. Unfortunately, in countries like our beloved Nigeria, there's a lot of things that have been left unsaid, mainly because of the fear of the people. People are afraid to speak up, right? Until they get away from where there are no guns and no uniforms, and then they talk as if to say, yes, well, nobody can mess with me, blah, blah, blah. But that's not changing anything. That's not improving anything. It's just basically leaving things the same. And as I said, you've got your elections coming up, and people are prepared. As we speak, they're probably even gearing up to run after anyone who's not going to vote for the party that they want you to vote for. That is not democracy, right? That is not democracy, and everybody knows this. It's not democracy. It's just manipulation, and these are things that we need to work to try and change. Right now, I said just now, who benefits when citizens become afraid? Because Fear creates psychological instability, and psychologically unstable citizens are easier to manipulate. You know, people will say, there's no food in the country, you know, but, you know, this guy is running for president and he asked me to give you a bag of rice. Now, obviously, if you haven't seen a bag of rice in your house, right, you've never seen a bag of rice in your house, you normally have to go out and buy 1 derika or 1 Congo, right, of rice. And that's what you and your family have been living on for God knows how long. And somebody suddenly gives you a 10-kilogram bag of rice, you know, you will be tempted to vote for that person, believing that if he's giving you a bag of rice today, when he wins the election, he'll give you more bags of rice, right? But as we all know, it doesn't work like that. It never has done, and it never will do. You know, we know that it never has done, and it never will do. You know, that is just not the way the process works. You know, election times, especially in Africa, is a good time to emotionally blackmail people, you know, into voting the way that they want you to vote, you know, and they do it very well, because then people then do vote in the wrong person, and then within a week of the results being tabled, people are already regretting, right? Because they've gone to knock on the door of the person that they voted in, and the person is telling them that they don't have their time, you know, they're too busy, you know, or they're about to travel with their family, you know, because they have other things that are more important, or they just don't even respond to you, period.
They can't even get to the door with the securities and
exactly
everything.
You know, so now elections are no longer fought only on the streets. They're now fought digitally. Social media has become a battlefield, a propaganda machine, an emotional weapon, and in some cases, a national security threat. Today, fake news spreads faster than truth, edited videos spread faster than verified reports, and emotional content spreads faster than responsible information. Some people now forward messages without verification. You know, somebody says, Master Genie, you know that guy that you're thinking of voting for? And that guy, you see what that guy did? You know, they picked him up in Malaysia one time, you know, and after that, he escaped in Malaysia. He went to Thailand, you know, and when he thought they were going to catch him in Thailand, you know, suddenly he appeared in America, whereas the guy has never left the village in Delta State, right? But because of the power and the gravity of social media today, you know, that is up to and including AI and things like that, you know, people believe things that they haven't even verified. You know, people believe, a lot of people believe the unbelievable, if that's a better way of putting it, you know. And you know, like I said, a lot of these narratives have got to change. You know, a lot of these narratives have got to change, and people have to change with it. Where was I? Right. Some people now forward messages without and one careless post can trigger panic, riots, violence, or even ethnic tension. Now, if a lot of people remember or they look back to the last election in Nigeria, right? Even I think before NSAS and all that, right? You've got a lot of people that will say something, right? Because they know that it's what you want to hear. And they will say it, and they will say it, and they will make sure that what they've said has effect, right? Now, when you've said something and it has effect, right? Basically, what will happen from there is people will, they will. I won't say they'll become stupid. They'll become irrational, and they won't think about the consequences of their actions. They will just act. You know, they will act super emotional, right? They won't give any thought to the consequences of their acting. They will basically try and give a reason for acting silly or acting out of character, right? Which in most cases will be very, very unprecedented. And then things will go wrong before they can go right again. And these are things that in the world of security, we need to work hard to prevent. Now, here's another question. And I'm hoping that Dominic might be able to help with this one. Now, should citizens who deliberately spread dangerous fake news during elections face legal consequences?
Yes. So.
Dominic, are you there? Hello, Dominic.
Yes, I come again, sir.
Right. The question is, should citizens who deliberately spread dangerous fake news during elections face legal consequences?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
as long as it's fake.
I think they should. Yes.
Fake news. Because it creates unnecessary tension, confusion.
Right now here's a thought process for you. Right now, obviously it's only a thought process. It's not that I 100% believe in it myself, right? But here's a thought process for everyone. Now, the citizen is deliberately spreading dangerous fake news, right? Now, remember, some people will claim freedom of speech. Obviously, like I say to a lot of people, you hear certain phrases and you use it because you had the opportunity to use that phrase. You saw an opportunity. Oh yeah, freedom of speech. I can say what I like. I have freedom of speech. Now, with your freedom of speech, right, you have now directly or indirectly, right, destroyed a society.
Yes, exactly, right? Sir.
And because of in some cases the stupidity of man and with man's inability to look into things and investigate properly, right? You've taken that on board and you've run with it, right? So the person who started this off initially, right, in my opinion, should face serious disciplinary consequences, right? But then so should every and anyone who jumped on that bandwagon.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, you say, or we say that we're going into an election, we want the best for our nation going forward, and we want people to have a free and fair vote and decide on their next move. But then someone somewhere, probably with the influence or under the influence of someone who is trying to get into that position, has now decided, you know what, we're going to mess up this process, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to create chaos. We're going to tell untruths, and we're going to spread pure negatives about this set of people or that person. So yeah, people like that, in a proper democratic society would face legal consequences. Miss Damife, good morning and welcome on board this platform. How are you this Saturday morning? Excellent. From where are you speaking this morning?
I'm presently at Romford.
In Romford, okay. It's good to see you. You've got glasses on. Is the sun shining where you are? Excellent. Right. We're talking security. And today where I actually decided to broach the topic or the subject of elections, because we have elections coming up very soon in Nigeria. And I'm basically trying to see from a people perspective how people feel when it comes to elections, and how safe they feel, you know, both emotionally, etc., and so forth, you know, and how much confidence that they have, especially when it comes to speaking up, you know. Now, in this segment of this talk, and I'm gonna actually throw a question to you, Damife, because you look quite youthful. Now, I'm going to be talking about youth and political violence in this section now. Right now, I'm talking directly to young people. Now, Nigeria has one of the most powerful youth populations in the world, but sadly, during elections, some youth are used. Right, they're actually used as political thugs, online attackers, intimidation agents, and instruments of violence. Excuse me. Now, I know that people like Damife, people like Master Genie, right? You guys are actually quite young. Now, I actually want to hear from either of you, your views on this. Yeah, Master Genie, you there? We've just lost Damife.
I'm here, sir.
Yeah,
we've lost Damife.
Yeah, we just lost Damife. Right. The question, the question, you know, I just want to hear your point of view on that one. You know, that's how the way Nigeria especially uses the youth and the young kids to its advantage during elections, right? In the most, as far as I'm concerned, in the most negative of ways. You know, using them as political thugs, using them as online attackers, intimidation agents, and instruments of violence. What's your view on that?
Okay. Thank you for the question. Our 001 global security clusters. I will say the politicians, they are a visionary. They can see the future. And they know that the only way they can get into the voters' head is to get into their kids' head. No matter how a situation is right now, as we are on the meeting right now, if one of your children call you now, you know you have to tell us, excuse me. So politicians know that if they get into the head of the youths, they can manipulate their parents, they can disrupt their parents, they can disrupt the community, because the most commuters in town, in cities, are youths.
That's right.
The companies, the technologies are being used mostly by youths.
That's
so
correct.
The politicians know this, that you have to get through to the youths, you have to confuse them so that they can confuse their parents. Once you confuse their parents, then the whole community is confused.
You know, I actually like this segment of this talk today because in all of the elections thus far, you really don't get that many politicians who actually talk about youth, right? They don't even direct any of their campaign or any of their manifesto to address youth or what they're going to do for youth. You know, they don't seem to realize that the youth are actually the leaders of tomorrow. Right? But they recognize the presence of youth when they need them to do negatives. Right now, as the HOD for security in the global clusters, personally, I believe that there should be people in Nigeria at the moment who give seminars and talks to these youth, right? And make them to understand that first and foremost, the youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow, right? All this talent that they have, all this insight that they have, all this knowledge that they have, what they should be doing is they should all be clubbing it together, right? And using it. I'm not against.
Let me jump on that, sir.
Yeah, of course.
That is why all these our musicians, we don't know how and where their money is really coming from. Because the politicians believe that the youth, they have some like a role model. They have somebody influencing them. This is why we have people working for them, that once they know that they have paid them off, they are going to be able to control the youth in certain community.
Exactly.
So that's why I think they don't get to speak about them anymore, because they have already sought them out behind the curtains. In the wrong way, I mean, in the wrong way.
Which is a pity, really, you know, because we you know, you've got, when we talk about the youth, you've got people like Wizkid, you've got people like Davido, you've got people like Burna Boy, you've got people
exactly. But you don't see them come out to come and speak against all these things, because they are benefiting from one or the other.
Yeah, they won't, because, you know, they've been bought off. You know, and it's a pity, because, you know, unfortunately, not all of the kids in Nigeria have Wizkid's money. They don't have Davido's money. They don't have Burna Boy's money. And these are people who turn up and they basically flash their cash, and then they disappear back to America, or they disappear back to the UK, you know, where life is a lot easier for them. You know,
if
they only turn
come out today and he wears that the same design Tinubu always wear all the time in his, you know, the art, the cap he wears.
Yeah.
If Wizkid just wear it one time, all his fans are going to just go in Tinubu's way.
That's
you understand?
Right.
You know, we're not here to condemn anybody. We're just having our talk. But
we're just having a discussion.
Burna Boy where Peter will be today, every Burna Boy fan will follow Peter Obi.
Exactly.
Are you getting my point?
Of course.
That's why I'm saying that Nigeria should learn from this council election in UK, because of the uncertainty in the economy and the misbehavior of conservative people are voting for reform, not because they believe in all the principles and mandate that reform stands for, but because they are not united in economic crisis and also other things, you know. And this is the same thing happening in Nigeria. If people can come together, like, okay, let us have the party for the youth, or let's say we have a leader for the youth. The people that are being elected for youth leader, they are not even talking to the youth.
No.
They have their own selected youth from their own community that speak on behalf of the others. And this is it. If I'm a youth leader in my community and I belong in a confraternity, let's say Aye, for example, I'm only going to do things that will favor the people in that same confraternity, and then cause chaos for the people in the opposite side, which is not supposed to be so. And I believe that this is what they voted for democracy for. But democracy is actually doing the opposite right now.
Exactly. You know, and you know, we continuously and continually say it on this forum. You know, what we need is people who have two very good ears and a brain that functions, you know, to look into these things, right, and do, as they say back home, do the needful, you know, because it's not enough from where I'm standing for you to tell me, oh yes, well, you know, we're looking into it, or things are going to get better. You know, things aren't going to get better unless people become more proactive.
You know, now, the use of nowadays, they don't even care about the dangers of fake news anymore, because of they want to go viral. They don't care about the danger of fake news anymore. Very, very bad.
But what they're also forgetting, right? What they're also forgetting is that after all of this, right? When the politicians finish using them, right? Then violence escalates. You know, the streets become unsafe. You know, the same communities become unstable, and the same futures become damaged, right? Because at some point, you know, once they've been used, if the police decide to start catching people, right, they will catch these same youths, and the politicians that use them will not defend them.
They will not. So that's just to answer what you were saying, that the reason why they don't talk about them is because the youths are their weapons in some kind of way, directly or indirectly. So right now, politicians should just stop exploiting, youth and unemployed emotional youths. That way, they will stop causing, division and confusion. Because young people are powerful when informed, but they are very, very, very dangerous when manipulated. And elections should create leaders, not victims.
That's correct. Now here's here's another question. Why do some youths fight and destroy their own communities for politicians whose children are safe abroad?
I know there's one word in my head to answer that, but unfortunately for the people that will not understand how deep it is, I will say ignorance. And I believe you, sir, will understand what I mean. It's ignorance.
Right?
Ignorant and uneducated.
I tell you what, Master Genie, here's one that I want you to put on the Global Clusters group chat, right? And that is a youth used for violence today.
Yeah.
May become the victim of insecurity tomorrow. Right. This is, and that's a very, very strong statement.
Very, very strong.
Right. It's a very strong statement. It's a very strong statement in the sense that a lot of these people, not just these kids, but their families, their parents, their uncles, their aunties will be telling them to go out there and do whatever the person running for election tells them, only because he's managed to give you 50,000 naira, which, by some of our standards, 50,000 naira would last you about, I don't know, half an hour, you'll have spent it, right? Now, they will go out there and they will do all the negatives that they've been told to go out there and do, right, in their own community, right? They forget they still got to live next door to the old woman whose shop you just destroyed. Or you've got to walk down that straight road of houses and shops of all the people that you've been living with for the last few years. Or because of 50,000 naira, you've now damaged hundreds and thousands of millions worth of equipment just to please somebody who actually doesn't care about you and won't even look at you again tomorrow after the results come in. But you will look at it tomorrow when you suddenly realize and you'll say, "Oh, I didn't realize." You understand? So, now I'm going to be rounding up soon, but I want to round up with this, right? Now, discipline, from where I'm standing, right, and from what I believe, discipline is the true foundation of democracy, right? Discipline is the true foundation of democracy. Can you put that on the group chat as well, please, Master G?
Okay.
Discipline.
Yeah.
The true foundation of democracy.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because for today, my word of today, or the word for today, is discipline.
Discipline.
Right? The word for today is discipline. Right? What does discipline mean? Discipline basically means emotional control. It means responsible behavior. It means intelligent reactions. It means controlled speech. And it means decisions made under pressure. Right? That is discipline. Right? When you're talking about discipline in security, right? When we're talking about discipline in security, it means discipline prevents chaos. Discipline protects peace. And discipline strengthens democracy. Right? And without discipline, right? Without discipline, fake news spreads. Violence increases. Manipulation succeeds. And democracy weakens. Now, on the back of that, you know, with all of that being said, I would say that democracy, not only, you see, democracy is something that only survives because people can vote. Right? If people can vote, democracy survives, right? And that in itself is a known fact, right? But because people can control themselves, right? Democracy survives not only because people can vote, but because people can control themselves, right? Now that in itself is powerful, right? Because elections test not only institutions, they test the maturity of the citizens, right? Now in a society where democracy rules, right, and things are done properly, right, and people are disciplined and they do things in a disciplined manner, work. Right now, my last question for today, Master Genie, would be this: what destroys a nation faster? Right? What destroys a nation faster? External enemies or internal indiscipline?
Internal indiscipline. That will open doors to every trouble coming from outside.
How are you, sir? Excellent. I am so honored to have you here this morning.
No problem.
I'm actually here every Saturday morning talking about security, most especially within Africa, within Nigeria, because that's what we do. You know, we cover quite a vast area of security and security matters. And today, basically talking about the need for people to have security awareness, especially around about this time now that people are gearing up and getting ready for the elections coming up in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You know, things for people to look out for, and how they can secure themselves and secure their minds and secure their communities to avoid the avoidable, which in most cases is cases of manipulation, fear, and extortion. And I just asked a question, and I'm going to hope that Uncle Gregory, you can help me out with this one, right? And the question was this: what destroys a nation faster? Is it external enemies or internal discipline? Oh, we lost it. No, Master Genie. So Uncle Greg, are you there?
I'm here.
Right? Yeah, and you know, a lot of us agree. You know, internal. Oh, he's gone. You know, internal indiscipline, right, is something that really damages a nation.
Yes.
Because if those of you on the internal side of things can't get it right and can't do it right, discuss the relationship between internal indiscipline and democracy. Right. You understand? Now, if people can't get it right on the inside, how do they expect people on the outside to get it right? You know? So, you know, I'm really grateful to everyone. Now, my final charge to everyone today is, as Nigeria approaches another election season, every citizen must decide: will you contribute to peace, truth, stability, and responsible democracy, or will you contribute to fear, hatred, manipulation, and instability? Because peaceful elections do not begin at polling stations. They begin in disciplined minds, responsible conversations, informed communities, and emotionally intelligent citizens. If we secure the mind, we secure the nation. Master Genie, did you get that one?
Yes, sir.
Right? If we secure the mind, we secure the nation.
Yes, sir. If we secure the mind, we secure the nation.
That's right. So, Master Genie, I'm going to leave you to give me a 5 or 10 minute submission of your own based on most of what we've covered today. And then I'm going to go to Dominic and ask Dominic to give me a 5 or 10 minute submission before we finally close out. Over to you, Master Genie.
Thank you very much, sir. Our 001 Global Security Cluster of the Global Clusters. Thank you so much for all you do to contribute positively to humanity. Thank you for taking out of your, busy schedule and, not even getting enough rest to come on this morning again. And again, you have given us another amazing thing to, think about, to learn about, and to know about, which is discipline. Of course, discipline is very, very, very important in every aspect of life. But when it comes to security, I don't think many of us, think about discipline in security. But right now, today, I have known, and this is my submission, that discipline is another, arm of, force in, in security. Because currently in the whole wide world, if people are really, really disciplined in the way they prioritize what they do and the actions they take in terms of keeping peace and keeping life safe, I believe we will all be in more peaceful environment right now because, psychologically, uh, people are not secured. We don't think of the psychology insecurity properly. But right now, when people take discipline in security seriously, then they will understand that psychology security is important before the physical security. Like what you just said there, if we secure the mind, we secure the nation, which is 100%, 1,000,000% true till Jesus Christ will come. So that would be my submission for today, that we should all take discipline very, very seriously. The same way we take culture seriously, the same way we take respect seriously, that is the same way we should take, in fact, more, we should take discipline very, very seriously because if we don't discipline our mind, we will not be able to, raise a disciplined environment because a child that is going to be open for election weapon is down to not being, raised in a disciplined home. You So let's secure our future, let's secure our life by being disciplined. So as for today, in terms of the election that is coming soon in our fatherland in Nigeria, people should stay disciplined and learn from everything that has happened and to make sure that they do things in a right way. Definitely, there's always two or more ways to do things, but there's just one right way. So, secure elections are not built only, by security agencies. They are also built by disciplined citizens, informed communities, responsible media, and controlled emotions. So when the mind is secure, the nation becomes secure, like the O01 Global Security Cluster of the Global Cluster has said. So thank you very much, sir, for this amazing time on today's Let's Talk Security. Thank you for what you have shared with us, and thank you for the in advance for every other thing you will still be sharing with us. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you very much, everyone who has taken out their time to listen to us.
Thank you very much, Master Genie. Before we go, Dominic, if you're still there, give us a 5 or 10 minute submission on some of the stuff that you heard today, and give us, if there's anything that you want to add to that. Hello, Dominic. Dominic, are you still there? No, I think he's gone. Oh, it's either that or he's got.
Or maybe he's engaged.
Probably.
His mic is muted.
Okay, then, Master Genie. Then, without anything else, if you'd like to close us out.
Okay, thank you very much for the pleasure. So, thank you very much. Our 001 Global Security Clusters of the Global Clusters, retired Colonel Chief Michael GBENGA OSHIN. Thank you so much, sir, for another amazing time on Let's Talk Security. I know we don't have enough time to discuss everything yet, but that's how valuable and impactful it is. But thank you for these few hours. I don't even know that we have gone past 12 already. So yeah, we have come to the end of today. Let's Talk Security. Thank you so much to our global president of the global clusters for this great platform, because without him, I don't think we'll be here today. So thank you, sir, Ambassador Dr. Adekunle Badmus. Thank you very much, Sparky Dominic, for standing by, and to every great clusterian who has called in or who has passed by on TikTok. And to those who will be listening to us in the nearest future, the video will be on YouTube. Kindly rewatch it to get the value we have got on today's Let's Talk Security with our Colonel Chief Wing Oshi. So thank you very much, everyone. Before we go, we normally ask, who are we? We are the global clusters. We are known as clusterians. We are a great, robust community of technocrats, or those who want to become technocrats, entrepreneurs, or those who want to become entrepreneurs, professionals, or those who want to become professionals. The Global Clusters community is not just a social media platform, it's a nation building platform, a nation building social media platform, first of its kind, proudly Nigerian, proudly African to the world, where we share accurate knowledge and information of our industry. Why? Because it is the bridge that will take us from where we are to where we are supposed to be. On the Global Clusters platform, we share accurate connection, because to whom we are connected to determines what we will collect in life. We meet every day for different revolutions. This morning has been Let's Talk Security with our retired Colonel Chief Michael GBENGA OSHIN. And in the evening, we'll be meeting again for accurate connection revolution. So don't miss your chance to grow with us. The global cluster is here to stay, and our mantra is manga. We are here to make Africa and Nigeria great again. If you are from Sierra Leone, this platform is to make Africa and Sierra Leone great again. If you are from Ghana, this platform is to make Africa and Ghana great again. And that goes with every other African nations. So thank you very much, everyone who has taken out their time to listen to us today. We shall be meeting again by 5 p.m. West African time for accurate connection. Don't hesitate to check out our past meetings on YouTube, and don't forget to make sure you follow our 001 year of the global security clusters on YouTube, on TikTok, and also on our Spark Hub, the engine room for the global cluster where we meet virtually. It is spelled www.thesparkhubs.org. That is the Spark Ops. You are able to join us for free, and we are able to, share with you what we are about. The global cluster is here to make us prosper. Thank you very much, everyone. See you again by 5 p.m. Nigerian time for accurate connection. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Master Genie. See you later on this evening.
See you later on, sir. Have a nice day.
And you.
Thank you.
Bye.